I remember the first time it hit me. Standing still while the world raced forward felt like being caught on a conveyor belt that never paused. As I looked around, I saw my peers pulling ahead in their careers, their families settling into homes of their own, their bank accounts growing while I clung to familiar routines, hoping comfort might somehow carry me forward. But comfort is an illusion. Just as a stagnant pond breeds mosquitoes, an unchallenged life breeds regret. Philosophically, I've always held that life is neither static nor neutral. Either you grow or you shrink. You cannot stand still in a universe of constant change. Emotionally, I felt that knot in my chest, a mix of confusion and quiet desperation, wondering how I'd allowed myself to drift so far. Practically, procrastination had become my unspoken routine. Each morning I woke, hoping today would be the day I'd finally take action. But night after night, I collapsed into bed without moving an inch closer to my dreams. If you're honest, I'll bet you felt that same tug in your gut, the unsettling knowing that every day you skip the hard work of growth, every minute you cling to comfort is another minute you fall behind. And here's the truth that will either shock you into action or allow you to sink deeper into stagnation. Comfort is your greatest enemy, and complacency is a silent tax collector. Every unchallenged habit, every moment you trade growth for ease, is a levy that costs you your potential. You're here because you sense that cost growing too heavy to bear. It's not yet too late, but time is marching on whether or not you join the parade. So ask yourself now, am I ready to pay the price of drifting further, or am I determined to invest in the small disciplines that compound into transformation? Because today, right now, your decision will chart a course, either toward irrelevance or toward becoming the person you were meant to be. Drift is a quiet thief, dressed in the clothing of routine, so subtle that you scarcely notice it, until one morning you wake to find yourself miles from where you intended to be. I like to illustrate this with a simple metaphor. Imagine a boat anchored in the harbor. At first, the rope frays just a bit, and the vessel inches away from the dock so slowly that no one hears the slack drop into the water. But give it a week, 2 weeks, and you'll discover that your boat, once snug against the pier, is now adrift in open water. Spiritually and practically, that's exactly what happens when you neglect your personal development. One skipped habit, be it reading a chapter of a good book, reaching out to a mentor, or waking up 30 minutes earlier, seems insignificant alone. Yet over days and weeks, those tiny gaps accumulate until the tug of daily drift carries you far from your original intention. I remember the years when I believed that sheer goodwill and hard work at my job would translate into wealth and fulfillment. Yet I failed to cultivate learning, to refine my philosophy, or to set clear goals beyond the next paycheck. Year after year, I paddled furiously, only to realize I was drifting sideways. My career stalled, my vision blurred. Emotionally, that discovery felt like a bitter wake-up call, knowing I'd sacrificed growth on the altar of busyness. But this recognition is empowering, for identifying drift is the first step to correcting course. Practically, you stop drifting today by naming the small routines you've let slide, your daily reading, your networking outreach, your reflection time, and you recommit to them. Philosophically, you replace the default of complacency with the deliberate practice of discipline. The rope of your life's purpose is stronger than the current of inertia, but only if you retie it each morning to a fixed milestone, be it a goal, a habit, or an intention. And having anchored yourself once more, you'll find that the world no longer drifts past you. You begin moving with it, towards something greater. Every day you choose comfort over challenge, you're making a silent trade-off, a bargain with your future that leaves you paying a steeper price down the road. You might not notice you're trading time for television or swapping clarity for scrolling through social media, but these seemingly innocuous choices create a deficit in your personal capital, time, focus, energy that you can never recoup. Philosophically, we are taught that you can't have your cake and eat it too, and yet we hope to dine at the banquet of success while nibbling at the scraps of distraction. Emotionally, these trade-offs sting only when we're jolted awake by the disparity between where we are and where we dreamed we'd be. I know this feeling well. I once poured precious mornings into checking petty emails and endless meetings that added no value to my mission, all the while believing I was being productive. When I finally sat down at my desk to write my next speech or sketch out a new plan, there was no energy left, no inspiration waiting, just the dull ache of regret. Practically, naming your own silent trade-offs means listing the minutes you spend on habits that don't move you forward. Those minutes that compound like interest, silently robbing you of your best self. Is it an extra coffee run each afternoon? That 20-minute break that becomes 40? That scroll through headlines before bed that steals your sleep? Each one exacts a toll, and together they create a hidden debt that will demand repayment in lost opportunity and deferred dreams. To break free, you must bring these trade-offs into the light. Write them down, own them, and then replace them with small disciplines that feed your growth instead of sapping it. For every minute you reclaim from the potholes of drift and redirect into morning reading, purposeful planning, or deliberate exercise of mind and body, you accumulate a wealth of capacity that compounds until one day you look back and marvel at how far you've come. The silent trade-offs are the unnoticed anchor dragging beneath the surface. Once you name them, you can unchain yourself and rise. Essential transition. Now that we've named the cost of complacency, let's envision the horizon that discipline can bring us, the disciplined future awaiting those bold enough to claim it. It's one thing to expose the drag of silent trade-offs. It's another to illuminate the spark of daily discipline and how it surges you toward your best self. I liken discipline to a rudder on a vast ship, small in appearance, yet vital in function. While drift, unchecked habits, and unnoticed compromises pushes you haphazardly with the currents of life, daily discipline provides the precise steering that brings you closer to your intended port. In my own early career, I discovered that rising at dawn to read philosophy and sit in quiet reflection offered far greater returns than an extra hour of sleep. That practice became my anchor, energizing my mind before the world stirred and imbuing my decisions with clarity for the rest of the day. Emotionally, that discipline felt like a personal victory before breakfast, an inner triumph that quieted self-doubt and elevated my confidence so that no matter what obstacles crossed my path, I carried the assurance that I had already done the most important work. Philosophically, I came to see that discipline isn't a chain on freedom, but the very key that unlocks it. The freedom to live on your own terms, to build your own destiny, and to refuse a life of quiet desperation. Practically, daily discipline looks like a handful of simple, non-negotiable actions. A 10-minute morning walk to ignite your metabolism, a brief journaling session to clarify your goals, a single page of purposeful reading to feed your intellect, and one tiny step toward your top priority project each day. Over time, these modest but consistent choices stack up like bricks in a sturdy wall, bars of safety and success standing firm against the storms of drift. When you commit to daily discipline, you develop momentum that no outside force can easily derail. The world will challenge you, your flesh will resist you, and the scoreboard of life may not instantly reflect your efforts. But you, standing at the helm of your inner ship, will know that each disciplined act today is a direct investment in the promise of tomorrow. And that investment compounds exponentially. Remember, water wears away stone not through brute force, but through steady persistence. So too will your daily disciplines carve a pathway toward your grandest aspirations. Transition. Having seen how discipline triumphs over drift, let's paint a picture of the brighter horizon that awaits when you seize control of your own destiny. Imagine yourself 5 years from today, but not the version of you because the alarm never went off. The idea never got written down, the habit never took root. No. Picture instead the person awakened each morning by a sense of purpose so vivid it outshines dawn itself. See how they move, quiet confidence in their step, clear focus in their eyes, unhurried calm even as the world bursts into motion. Philosophically, this future self is living testimony to your deepest values: integrity in your habits, intentionality in your choices, courage in your consistency. Emotionally, there's a lightness, knowing that you've done the work day after day to build skills that make you valuable. Not just to others, but more importantly, to yourself. This disciplined person greets challenges with curiosity rather than dread, because each obstacle has been but another chance to refine muscle, mind, and spirit. They own their time instead of being owned by it, savor every small success instead of envying another's grandeurs, and sleep at night in the comfortable peace of knowing their course is true. Practically, this future translates into habits that compound returns. A morning ritual of reading and reflection that keeps your philosophy sharp. A habit of weekly review and planning that keeps your goals aligned with reality. An unwavering commitment to one small skill-building activity each day that is multiplied into mastery. Financially, emotionally, intellectually, physically, you're reaping rich harvests because you sowed consistent seeds of effort. And this is no fantasy. It's a direct consequence of discipline. For discipline is the seed, consistency is the water, and over time, success and fulfillment are the blooms. If you stand on the shore of your future and ask, what rocky reefs must I steer clear of? The answer is simple. The reefs of idle comfort, the eddies of distraction, the shoals of procrastination. Stay vigilant. Hold fast to your rudder of daily discipline, and the harbor of your highest aspirations will come into view. Transition. So now that you've glimpsed this compelling vision, let's anchor our lesson with 5 simple disciplines, your first compass bearings for navigating away from drift and toward your destiny. Now that you've seen both the peril of drift and the promise of discipline, let's translate vision into action. Here are 5 simple but potent disciplines you can begin today. Disciplines that align with the life you saw in the last section. Morning mindset ritual, 4 minutes. Begin each day before the world stirs by reading a short passage of timeless wisdom, poetry, a principle from the 5 major pieces, or a powerful quote. Then pause to reflect for 2 minutes, asking, what one thought will guide my choices today? This ritual trains your mind to start with intention rather than default to distraction. Imagine a sculptor at dawn, chiseling their masterpiece one deliberate stroke at a time. So too does this ritual carve your character before breakfast calls. Evening journal review, 4 minutes. Each night, write 3 wins you achieved that day and 1 lesson learned from a stumble. This simple practice crystallizes your progress and turns every setback into fuel for growth. Emotionally, you finish your day on a note of gratitude and mastery, not regret. Philosophically, you honor the principle that success is not something you pursue, but something you attract by becoming the right kind of person. Weekly goal alignment, 4 minutes. Dedicate 30 minutes every Sunday to check your 16 long-range goals and your short-term tasks. Ask, am I moving toward each priority, or has drift crept in? Realign your schedule to serve your highest aspirations. This discipline is like a captain charting their course at week's end, correcting for currents and winds so the ship never wanders far from its destination. Daily micro-action on big projects, 4 minutes. Choose your most important project, the one that scares or excites you most, and commit to 1 small action on it every single day, no matter how trivial. A single paragraph drafted, 1 page edited, 1 prospect called, 1 step practiced. These micro-actions accumulate into monumental achievements. The spiritual lesson? The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and your faith in yourself deepens with every step you take. Mindful pause and breathe, 4 minutes. 3 times a day, late morning, mid-afternoon, and early evening. Stop for 60 seconds. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and remind yourself of your highest purpose. This brief discipline interrupts drift, resets your focus, and reminds you that you are the master of your attention. Picture a surfer catching the perfect wave only because they paused, watched the sea, and moved in harmony with its rhythm. So too can you ride the currents of your day. From this moment forward, I challenge you. Choose one of these 5 disciplines and begin tomorrow morning. See how it feels to rise before the world, aligned with purpose. Then welcome the discomfort of building a new habit, knowing that discomfort is the forge in which your strongest self is made. 5 or 10 years from now, who will you be? Will you be the man or woman still drifting on the currents of yesterday's habits? Or will you be the person who steered with discipline and arrived at a shore of wealth, purpose, and peace? Make your decree now. I am no longer the drifting soul. I am the disciplined voyager. Each day, I chart my course, practice my disciplines, and steer toward my destiny. Say it, live it, and you will become it.